Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, and in a moment we'll be joined by City Manager Mark Roloff. As usual, in the first half of today's show, we'll have some municipal news updates, including information from city departments and things happening in Oshkosh. In the second half, we'll highlight items from the upcoming Tuesday, May 9th, Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. And with that, we bring in our City Manager, Mark Roloff. Mark, thanks for being here today.
Great to be here, Andy.
Okay, well, we have a lot to go through today, and we'll start off the show talking a little bit about a state topic, a state-based topic, and that's shared revenue and how the state budget is addressing that. I guess if you could explain to us a little bit about what shared revenue is, and I know that the system is broken with this and what's being done to fix it.
Well, it sure is broken, but I think it's a good question to talk about what shared revenue is. Cities throughout Wisconsin are prohibited from levying income taxes or sales taxes. In fact, when Wisconsin created their income tax over 110 years ago, part of the goal was to return money to local government through the income tax. Now, obviously, that has morphed over the years, and so shared revenue is the state's way of redistributing income and sales taxes and other revenues from the state to municipalities throughout the state. It's been done in many different ways over the years, different formulas, but the reason the system's broken is that the formula has been frozen for years, so it has no real resemblance to anything on a logical basis, and it's either been frozen or going down. So the graphic you're looking at here shows about a 15-year view of how shared revenue has been going statewide, and that's in the blue, and you can see it's either been stable or gone down, and it's been stable for better part of a decade now. This only goes through 2019. Meanwhile, the other revenues you see over there are the state's revenues for income and sales and corporate income tax, and you can see those have been going up. So while sales tax, for example, over the last 25 years have been going up about 50%, shared revenue's gone down 20%. Doesn't make sense at all, clearly demonstrates that the system's broken. And so cities, counties, villages, towns have been beating the drum on this, and we've been working on it as a group now, because I think in the past it was like, well, if they can't agree on something, then how can the state legislature do that? So we've really organized well to get our message across that this is not just about cities or the city of Oshkosh. It's about every municipality in the entire state. So both the governor and the legislature have recognized this as a problem. The governor had a proposal. The legislature has taken the whole state budget and shuffled it around, and now they've made a proposal. Honestly, I think the fact that they're talking about a solution finally is probably as encouraging as I've seen in my 30 years of working in Wisconsin local government. So I'm very encouraged by it, but it's far from done, Andy. So that's shared revenue sort of in a nutshell.
Is there anything that residents can do on this topic?
Well, I think what the residents can do is certainly let their legislators know that you're aware of shared revenue, you're aware that the system of funding local government's broken, and because of that, their property taxes have gone higher. And I think it's important for the legislators to understand that this is something that our residents understand. Their sales and income taxes, they're paying it on a regular basis, and they expect some of that to get returned to the local units of government that provide the basic services that they use. And that doesn't matter if you live in a town or you live in the city of Oshkosh and you're a resident of Winnebago County. It counts for all of us. So let your legislators know that the systems of funding local government needs to get fixed, and it should be done with this budget. I think we're getting there, but a little nudge from the residents probably wouldn't hurt.
Okay. Well, I know that it's been an issue for a long time, so it is promising to see some movement with this, and we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I'm probably the most encouraged I've seen in the 30 years I've been doing local government in Wisconsin. So I'm crossing my fingers along with a lot of other municipal officials throughout the state.
Okay, very good. Thanks for that update. And we also are in that season where our construction projects are underway, and we just want to highlight just a few of those. We'll continue to look at all of them eventually here, but today we'll look at Bowen Street as one of those. And there's some work being done on the northern end of Bowen Street, and we also wanted to encourage folks to take it easy through that area, not go so fast.
Exactly. This project is on Bowen Street north of Murdoch, and it's installing a brand new sanitary interceptor sewer and storm sewer in addition to the reconstruction of the concrete streets. One of the advantages of that interceptor sewer is it's going to eliminate the need for a lift station. And whenever you have a sewer lift station, you're really at the mercy of good weather and good electricity and good source of power. So doing that is going to make it more reliable, and it's going to be less expensive. So that's a big part of that. That's why the street's dug up so much, because when you put in an interceptor sewer, it gets pretty deep, so you have to deal with that. But you did point out we've had some issues there where people are speeding through the area, and even though Bowen Street looks like a commercial corridor, you're just going out of town, there are a lot of residents that are off the street, and they are in dead ends as they go up to the channels that back up to Lake Winnebago. So those folks don't have an alternate way out, and it's really, frankly, unfair to those residents that they don't have an alternative route to go through that I'm sure they would do to avoid construction. But there are other people who are just kind of going through the area way too fast, either thinking they can get all the way through or they're rushing home, but recognize it's really causing a safety issue. We've got workers out there, and we want to make sure that they're going to be safe. So it's really important for you to take it easy. We've had to put some what we call misdirection so that people have to kind of slalom through, and honestly, it's quite inconvenient for residents. And residents who want to take it easy and go slow through the construction zone, they've got to do this slalom, which makes their travel even longer. So I'd ask people to slow it down so that it's safer for the contractors, it's safer for you, as well as out of courtesy to the residents in this immediate area.
Okay. And then we also wanted to point out that some construction work will be beginning on Monday, May 8th on Osborne Avenue as well as South Washburn Street. And this is kind of a project that there's some federal funding that has been available for this.
It is, and we're real happy about that. But let me just give a little brief view of the project.
Sure.
It's to pulverize that existing asphalt pavement and then stabilize it, smooth it out, and then install new asphalt pavement. Throughout this project, the access to businesses will be maintained. So if you've got one of your favorite stores that you need to get to or anything, don't worry, you'll be able to get there. It'll just be again, take it easy through the construction zone and you're going to be just fine. For South Washburn, they're actually going to work on the shoulder a little bit to make it a little more stable. But even though when the product's done, the shoulder, the gravel shoulder will look smaller, there's actually going to be a paved shoulder as well, because sometimes there's people making left turns or turns into the residential area just west of Washburn. We want people to be able to go around turning vehicles without getting into the gravel and getting a little concerned. So we're paving that a little more too. So that's just be aware of that's going to be going on. But you did mention federal funding. You may have heard something called the BIL. It's the Federal Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, and that was signed into law back in November of 2021. And we jumped on this right of way. We got these projects designed and ready to go to get bid out. This is actually being bid out by the state of Wisconsin because it's the federal money coming through. So they're administering the project. I'm sure they're going to do a fine job, and you can certainly call us, but it's going to be really the Department of Transportation that's managing this project. And that's okay by me because they're funding through this bipartisan infrastructure law. They're funding 80% of this project. So only 20% is a local share where the taxpayers, the local taxpayers, are directly paying for that. So we're real excited to take advantage of the funding there, and we're getting 2 projects that are much needed to get done, so I'm happy about that as well.
It accelerates the whole list of projects that way a little bit.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And then we also wanted to remind folks that we have a new dashboard that's available on the city's website that folks can take a look at for construction updates and more details about all of these different projects. So that is available in the Hot Topics section of the city's website. And there are also email lists available for each project as well. So if you'd like to have an update on any particular project, you can sign up on those for those projects updates on the city's website, and we encourage you to do so. Okay, talking about projects, we also have some other projects that are happening in the parks, and one of those is a playground project over at Rowe Park.
Yeah, Rowe Park is right next to the downtown YMCA, and that project, I've gotten some comments about it, but that playground equipment is well over 20 years old. It's a little dangerous for a variety of reasons. So this is a rendering of what it's going to look like, a little more accessible for different kids. So we're really excited about this. And the great news is that the expected completion of this is by Memorial Day. So hopefully the weather will be a little more summer-like,
right,
and the neighborhood kids will be able to use this and enjoy it right here in the middle part of the city.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And then also over at Menominee Park, the Menominee Park Zoo opens on May 6th.
Yeah, a handful of things going on over at Menominee Park. Of course, the zoo opens May 6th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily, and of course through the Tom and Penny Herrenberg Foundation, free admission to that. So we're excited about that. The Lake Fly Cafe, you're going to have to be a little more patient because that doesn't open until May 27th, Memorial Day weekend. Of course, the Menominee Park Lagoon fountains are getting installed, and they're expected to be completed around June 1st. So you'll see those fountains in their glory once they're ready. So that'll be another good reason to come visit the zoo as well. But we also, Menominee Park isn't the only place where we got some action going on in our park system. Our 4-season park shelter is moving forward, and we anticipate it to be completed somewhere around July 7th. So this video is from April 18th. I can tell you that if you were over there today, you'd see even more progress. It's really coming along now, so I'm excited that we're going to have it open for the better part of the summer. So excited about that, and of course when winter kicks in, you're really going to be able to enjoy what the shelter has to offer.
Sure. And also over at the park's home base, let's say, they have a lot of work going on as well.
Yeah, the parks operations is still in exile, so the old building is down and the new one is making very good progress. So we're excited to see that. We're waiting for that completion, but our parks department is scattered through various areas in town, and we're a little crimped up in all those places, but it's making great progress, and we're looking forward to completion sometime this summer as well.
Okay, and we'll be keeping an eye on it, so we'll monitor the updates, the progress. Okay, then recently we had the Wisconsin Department of Administration Secretary visit Oshkosh, and she was touring some of the community-based solutions that are under construction or in the works in Oshkosh for homelessness.
Yeah, Secretary Kathy Blumenfeld, the Department of Administration, homelessness is part of their one of their areas of responsibility at the state level, and they're also responsible for distributing some of their American Rescue Plan Act funds, ARPA, and the county, Winnebago County, received a grant of about $10.6 million, 2 of which were going towards the day-by-day warming shelter and the tiny home village. So Secretary Blumenfeld took a tour of those 2 facilities. I was fortunate enough to be able to accompany Secretary Blumenfeld on that. Mm-hmm. I think she came away learning a lot about what our stakeholders are doing to address homelessness in Oshkosh, and I think there are two takeaways from this. One, Secretary Blumenfeld and her staff were very impressed with the community-based solutions. Even though this program is getting funded from the state through ARPA funds. These are projects that are led by community-based nonprofit groups. She was very impressed with the level of collaboration that's going on amongst that. And then the second one I think that Secretary Blumenfeld understands and saw here is that homelessness is not just an Oshkosh issue. It is a regional issue and it is a statewide issue. And it requires regional and statewide solutions. There are homeless issues throughout the state, certainly in northeast Wisconsin, but there's really, in the I-41 corridor, there's really only 4 facilities, day by days. One of them here in Oshkosh, Fond du Lac, Appleton, and Green Bay. That's it. So when there are homeless individuals in these other communities, they're tended to be driven or guided towards one of these 4 shelters. So it's like, well, this is an Oshkosh problem. It is far from an Oshkosh problem, and I think we all own joint responsibility for that. So that was an issue that I think Secretary Blumenfeld picked up on and took away as she made her way back to Madison.
Okay, well, certainly a lot is being done, and that's a good thing. All right. Well, recently Oshkosh celebrated Arbor Day on April 28th, and several students from the 4th grade at Franklin Elementary School helped to plant some trees and I think they had a good time that day.
I think they did. I think every Arbor Day I've seen, it's been a great learning event, a lot of fun. And fortunately, the weather was good enough for the kids. But they went over to a place called Garden Club Park. It's at 4th and Mason. A lot of people don't know about that, but the kids learned why it's important to plant the right tree in the right place. And they got to plant a couple trees there, and we were happy about that. One tree was donated by the Oshkosh Garden Club in celebration of their 50th anniversary. So that was really a nice little recognition.
Sure.
And then Wisconsin Public Service donated the other tree. So the city of Oshkosh has received the National Arbor Day Foundation's Tree City Award for the 42nd consecutive year. And our Arbor Day celebration is one way that we can do that. And of course, there's a lot more to learn about the National Arbor Day Foundation through their website. And I think, Andy, we're going to have some of this on Oshkosh Media, aren't we?
That's right. We did record the event, and that will be available on GovTV as well as on the Oshkosh Media YouTube channel. So check it out. You can see the whole event there and learn a little bit more about how to properly plant a tree as well. Okay, then also, Mark, over at the Oshkosh Public Museum, speaking of education, they continue their educational programs.
They sure are, and this month alone, the museum will host 250 students, usually grades 1 through 4. They come from not just Oshkosh, but Rip and Appleton and other communities in the immediate area. The museum is really putting a focus on and being committed to enhancing students' exploration of the history and culture of the Lake Winnebago region. And so much so, their commitment to education, they've done some reorganization over at the museum, and happy to report that we have a new curator of education. His name is Neil Matherin, comes to us from Oklahoma, and we're excited to have him come and develop programs that will be very relevant to the students and work very closely with the teachers to make sure it's relevant to the education they get back in the classroom.
Sure, and our museum is a treasure for the community, so we encourage folks to go and see the new exhibits over there. We also have a new Oshkosh Community Survey that is opening on May 5th for residents, and we're encouraging all residents to take part in the new survey.
Absolutely. You may have already received a survey in the mail. If you did, please fill it out and do it that way. But if you didn't get one in the mail, you can go online. We've been doing this survey since 2009, and I can tell you that the council looks very seriously, as does staff, as to what the results are and help us prioritize what we should be doing budget-wise, and it's very helpful. The survey is going to open to the public on Friday, May 5th, and it closes on May 19th. So it's only a 2-week window, but we figure we need it a little tighter to get people to see the urgency and respond. So this is your chance to help Oshkosh plan for the future.
And check out the Oshkosh Polco site where you can sign up for Polco and jump into that survey to fill that out. And more information will be forthcoming on that as well. Also, Mark, we wanted to point out that the spring cleanup brush collection is currently underway.
It's scheduled right now through May 12th. It's on your regular garbage day, so just put it out that time. Basically what spring cleanup is, it's an extended brush collection schedule to help you get rid of yard waste and with curbside pickup. So the brushes are tree branches, leaves, hedge clippings, and garden debris. Please no grass, dirt, root balls, or stumps. Put in biodegradable bags or bundled and tied, and we'll take care of it there. And our website has lots of information on this that you can get more details.
Okay, excellent. Well, I think we might as well just roll right into the City Council agenda and take a look at what's coming up. We're taking a look at the upcoming Tuesday, May 9th Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. And we have some different items here, Mark. It looks like under the consent agenda, we have an item where we are looking at some additional reconstruction on Bowen Street, not the area that we talked about already, but this is Otter to Parkway?
Yeah, again, we've got some federal funding. It's called STP, the Surface Transportation Program. And again, when it's this type of federal money trickling down through the state will take the lead on the project, but we work on the design. So this is a contract with AECom for this project. It's Bowen Street. In this case, it's actually from Otter to Parkway, and it's scheduled for 2026. So we're getting working on it so that it can get all designed and go through the state approval process so that it can get done in time for 2026. So we're excited about this, and just one of our many capital projects that in this case we're able to identify some federal funding that will help pay for it. So it's the federal gas tax that you pay at the pump. It just makes its way back to us, and every 5 to 7 years probably we get a project done, and this is the one that we've identified.
Okay, very good. Then we also have an item looking at storm sewer laterals, awarding a bid for those. And this is mainly in residential areas, I believe?
Yeah, primarily is. And a good way of saying this is these are your stormwater fees put to work. So laterals, if somebody is in a residential area and they want to connect either their sump pump or their downspouts to the storm sewer system, and if they've got a lot of water in their yard, this is a way to help get rid of it. So our folks will be out there doing some excavating to put these storm sewer laterals in. They also do a little bit of a storm sewer main in front of houses to collect it to the larger storm sewer system. And so we've asked people to sign waivers so we can get this all done and get it done as efficiently as possible. But we're awarding a contract in the amount of $830,000. So we get a lot of that work done over the course of the summer, and we're excited to be working with our residents to give them a little return on their investment in stormwater.
Okay, all right. And then also under the consent agenda, we have a bid being awarded for, let's see, it looks like some miscellaneous construction and paving projects.
It's a lot of paving projects. We have about $500,000 annually we spend on parking lot construction, reconstruction, really. But we got a handful of other projects that we've thrown into this mix, and this total is $893,000, not a small amount of money. A couple of the projects we're looking at doing are on South Main Street, some pavement that needs replacing, long overdue. And so we're doing that, as well as some of our parking lots. Station 15, our downtown fire station, kitty corner from the Leach Amphitheater. That's quite old in need of replenishment. So that's an example of some of the projects that we do to work on our parking lots, both ones where the public uses and then ones that, for example, the fire department uses in this case. Okay, all right. And then a little bit later in the agenda, we have our new resolutions, and one of those is to approve the rental fees for the new facility that we just took a look at a little bit ago, the Lakeshore Park Four Seasons building. Well, because we're getting so close to completion, we're getting inquiries from people who are kind of looking over there. And so the staff made some recommendations to the Parks Advisory Board. Parks Advisory Board actually upped the fees a little bit from what the staff was recommending. So this rate that you'll see includes the tax, because we want to be upfront with residents. We actually have to pay sales tax on these rentals, so that's what this amount includes. But you can see there's a separate rate for residents and non-residents, and also a weekday rate, and then a weekend holiday rate for higher demand areas. So you can see it ranges from $236 to $341. The council will be voting on this, and I think because the Parks Board looked at this, I think this is going to be pretty comparable. The rental is for 12 hours, so that's why it's such a long amount. You'll have full use of it from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and we did some comparisons with some other areas, and we feel this is actually still on the low side, but competitive with something else. So it's a great location with all the videos you've seen. Certainly recommend people want to take a look at it, because it'll be a beautiful location for you to have an event for your family or an organization you may belong to.
A unique facility for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's our only four-season building in our entire park system.
I think that'll be one of the jewels of the city here, really, to be honest. Then also we have under our next section, we have some future agenda items. One of those is to look at options to reduce or eliminate special assessments. And I know that there's been discussion about looking at options that are without a fee. Yeah,
the council a couple years ago had taken a look at an option, and it was a fee-based option, and I think they rejected it at that time. And then there's a lot of discussion. There's challenges in the courts and potential changes at the legislative level at the state. So the council said, well, why don't we take a look at some options that don't involve a fee? So staff has looked at a variety of options. Now, that says without a fee, but that doesn't mean it's not without cost, because anytime we're talking about finding a way to lower the cost of special assessments, what that means is it's going to get redistributed to the general taxpayer. So full disclosure, there's no magic money that's going to take care of this. It's got to come out of somebody's pocket. And so one of the options we're looking at is to have the taxpayers pick up a bigger share, and that's primarily because the cost of these special assessments has just gone up dramatically, and we're going to provide that information to council on Tuesday. So we've got a variety of options. Changing our special assessment policy. One option is to get rid of special assessments completely. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, because there's a lot of tax-exempt properties that wouldn't be paying that I think should. We've got a lot of tax-exempt properties in the city, so that's something that we should be taking a good hard look at. So with so many new council members, I want to present this to them so that they've got an opportunity to kind of get up to speed on the issue. Several of them have spoken, and I think at the last meeting they said it, we still want to do this. So I think it's something they're aware of, but the solution is really the challenge here.
And just really quickly to clarify, somebody would encounter a special assessment for what type of cost? Like what type of expense would that be for?
You're talking about $150 a front foot for a street improvement. So okay. That's a pretty pricey project when you've got, say, 80 feet of frontage. So we want to try to address that, and I know council is committed to finding a solution. They just got to find the one.
Okay, very good. All right, and then a little bit later in our agenda, we have a professional services agreement, and this is for the Oshkosh Fire Department, and I believe it helps them with some national accreditation.
Yeah, the project is for what's called a community risk assessment to kind of evaluate where we are, kind of a snapshot of where the fire department is in our community risk, and then what the fire department uses that as sort of a benchmark to how do we address the issues facing our community. And that's part of an accreditation process. Our police department is already nationally accredited, and the fire department would also like to seek national accreditation. The cost of this is $42,000, and that's pretty pricey, but Chief Stanley and his staff were able to secure a grant that will pay for $33,000 of it, so about 3/4 of it. So very proud of the fire department taking those efforts to get this funding.
Okay, very good. Well, Mark, I think we packed a lot in today, and we really appreciate your insights on all this.
It's always a pleasure, Andy.
All right. And thank you also for joining us today. Again, that Oshkosh Common Council meeting is at 6 p.m. this Tuesday, May 9th at City Hall, which is at 215 Church Avenue. You can watch it live on GovTV, which is Spectrum Channel 10, UVerse Channel 99, and streaming on YouTube and OshkoshMedia.org. Or you can listen on the radio, Oshkosh FM 101.9, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app for phones and tablets. You can always use your favorite streaming device, including Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. Just search for the Oshkosh Media app. And you can always check out the YouTube channel for Oshkosh Media and see archives of programming there. So join us again in 2 weeks for another City Managers Report. Thanks for watching.